years at our own expense without any government subsidy. But R&D is very expensive. So therefore, what do we need from the government? We need support by way of orders.
Okay, this is a video. I think this is one of your products, and we are okay. The technology is being shown. All right, sir. We have some texted in questions. We're actually receiving a lot. This one is for. Yes, this one is for Armscor. And the question is, someone from Quezon City, are your firearms currently being used by the PNP or the AFP? We know that you manufacture pistols, so is it?
Yes. As a matter of fact, there is currently a bidding for 59,900 for pistols for the PNP right now, and we are going to participate as one of the bidders. And we plan to bring in the Tanfolio pistols, to which we have already sold several thousands of that to the Philippine National Police with very good response from them. That same pistol, in a polymer version, we have sold several hundreds to the Philippine Coast Guard as well, no? And of course, our 1911 pistols do find their way into the armed forces of the Philippines because, as far as I know, private purchases that they use as the standard, it still uses the standard sidearm. The 1911 is still the standard sidearm of the AFP. And a lot of their officers and enlisted personnel have acquired Armscor 1911 pistols throughout the years to, well, and with very much satisfaction on their part as well.
Okay, Mr. Carino, this is for you. This is from Jake from Makati. Are you catering to the Philippine market or only abroad?
We do cater to the Philippine market, but right now the bigger market for us is export. For your information, Miguel, and for the information of our viewers, we do export our assault rifles primarily to the anti-piracy companies. Who are guarding or which are guarding the merchant vessels plying the Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Aden.
Yes.
So the good thing about this is that our own assault rifles made in the Philippines are protecting not only the vessels but also the Filipino crews.
Okay. This is a question for both of you. Paano nyo naisip pumasok sa armaments? Okay. Very interesting
well,
question.
maybe kung, let me answer that first, no, because Armscor has been around much longer, for a much longer time, no? And essentially, this was the vision of the founder of the company, Don Celso Tuason, which has been carried over by his children, you know, currently headed by our chairman and president, Mr. Demetrio or Bolo Tuason, together with his younger brother, Kongkoy Tuason. No? So there has been that long history that they have already realized the potential of firearms and ammunition, knowing that Filipinos do love it as well.
Okay. Another question from a certain Masigasig from Taguig. Okay. Mga sirs, nanalo na ba ang produkto nyo sa any competition locally or abroad? Salamat po. Obviously.
Well, for the case of the UDMC products, this has won several competitions, not only in the Philippines, which we have posted in our website, but has also won competitions abroad. And one of these is the ASEAN Army's rifle meet that was held recently in Indonesia. It can also be viewed in our website.
Can I answer that also very quickly? Right. The current World Shoot Champion has been using our ammunition components. No? So in a way, our products have been very successful. And we have a shooting team called Team Armscor, and our team members have participated in world shoots, and they do regularly place in the top levels. No? So yes, the answer to that is definitely yes.
Okay, this is a question that I should have asked you earlier. Are you just assembling imported parts locally or manufacturing the parts here? This is for both gentlemen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, for us, we, as I mentioned earlier, we produce 80% of the parts already in the assault rifles. Again, if our viewers would take a look at our website, it shows there the computerized machines that we're using, which is programmable. And going back to the question on capacities, we can produce as many rifles as we can for as long as there's a firm order, because all we have to do is to add more CNC machines and raw materials and produce these rifles, maybe 5,000 rifles in a month.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you gentlemen any technical questions, but I think this is something that we have to talk about, whether it's uncomfortable or not. Well, your products are technically, or they're good. I mean, they work and they've been used for a long time. But selling to the government is another issue altogether. There are issues of red tape, fiscal policies, and other things like corruption. Honestly, gentlemen, is this something that you find yourselves at this juncture having to contend with?
Well, I wouldn't talk about corruption because in my case, I have not experienced any form of corruption or any kind of harassment, if I may call it that way, from the government or the AFP or the PNP. But what I'm concerned about as a manufacturer and as a Filipino corporation is the provision of the procurement law that states that before you can participate in a bidding, you must have a previous contract worth at least 50% of the bidding that's being bidded out.
So it doesn't lend itself to new companies?
No, it's not. It is, I would say, incriminatory in the sense that it favors foreign brands, foreign suppliers. Because the question there, in my view, is that rather than putting that particular requirement, I think the government should in fact analyze or look into the financial capability of the local company and its quality and capability to produce the arms, rather than having a track record of 50%.
Okay. Obviously, at this juncture, we cannot, the Philippines cannot yet manufacture military jet planes, either the fighter variety or not even the cargo variety. We have limited manufacturing capacity when it comes to maritime vessels, but we can. I think as early as 40 years ago, the Navy and the Coast Guard were using locally made or assembled boats. But let's talk about small arms, rifles and pistols. Can both of your companies fill that gap for both the AFP, the PNP, or even to a large extent the Coast Guard, as far as that market segment is concerned?
If you will allow me to answer that question, the answer to that is a definite yes. Because even right now, we are already supplying certain pistols to the different government agencies.
In a limited capacity.
Yes, and then we have also provided shotguns and a few other weapons to the Philippine National Police and the armed forces. And we constantly supply them with their ammunition requirements on a regular basis. No? And that is all through bidding. And this is for 5.56, 7.62, 9mm, and other handgun ammunition as well.
Sir.
Yes, definitely. As I said, it's just a matter of buying more machines. But we cannot buy more machines if there's no pledge or commitment from the government.
So the demand has to be
the demand must be there and the commitment must be there. No subsidies are required.
Okay, gentlemen, let's move to, I guess, something which we can call a parallel topic. Since we're talking about defense, it's not just the guns, it's not just the ammunition or the planes or the boats. We're talking about uniforms and we're talking about shoes. And do you know that I had the opportunity to interview a couple who began with a 750 peso capital from their garage, and they've become a multi-million peso undertaking. This is the Familia Lagaw couple, the husband and wife team behind Sandugo Sandals. We have a business feature for you. I think our viewers will find it quite interesting.
which manufactures sporting sandals and run by Job and Shah Familia Lagaw, has become the top brand in footwear. Starting with a 750 peso capital in 1994, Job Familia Lagaw made sporting sandals for his own personal need and to generate income for his mountaineering trips.
I started the business because we are using this footwear in mountaineering.
As years went by, word got around about the quality of the Sandugo brand, and demand started to go up. He, along with his relatives, were able to make several dozen sandals a week, but this all changed when Job and Shah got married. Shah Familia Lagaw had a vision of making the brand big and promoted Sandugo in a market full of competitive brands.
Kahit buntis ako nun, kahit saan ako pupunta, Dagupan, Pangasinan, Cebu, para lang mag-product sampling.
Her efforts were not in vain, as it had become a company. Since becoming a company in 1999, Sandugo has generated 800 jobs and has expanded its line, manufacturing not only footwear, but also mountaineering gear. The first Filipinos to scale Mount Everest, Leo Horacio and Pastor Ermata, have used Sandugo in their trip to the summit. Now, the Familia Lagaws continue to think about product innovation, which, for them, is just another mountain to climb. For GNN, Kring Lacson, Practical Business. Sandugo.
Practical Business is back, and we're still talking about the local industries and in particular the local defense-related industries. Mr. Chua, you had a comment regarding the feature regarding the shoes.
Yes, I'm very happy to see that we have innovative Filipino companies that are able to start out their businesses from a very small scale. No? And I think this is exactly what we need to develop here in the Philippines. And I think the best way for the government to do that is by making the environment, particularly for small businesses, more conducive to conduct business. And that is done through simplification, no, of the requirements, of the processing of documents, the mayor's permits, local government requirements, national government requirements, the filing of all of these different things being required by government. I recall seeing that there has been a big issue, for example, at the level of corruption in the Philippines, wherein our corruption index is at 2.6, which was the same almost 10 years ago, no? In spite of the change in administration, which has been using the battle cry of down with corruption. No? But in reality, you will not be able to make a dent on corruption if you have so many rules and regulations that make it, or too much red tape, that makes it difficult for ordinary citizens and the smaller businessmen to do their business normally.
As a general rule, the more regulations you have, the more susceptible you are to corruption, because corrupt government officials thrive on these technicalities.
Yeah.
You know, they say, I keep hearing that the current administration is against corruption, but in the street level, I mean, if you look at the minor or the middle level government functionaries, you can still feel that the corruption is there, the red tape is there. I don't know if you gentlemen feel the same way. So I guess the problem is systemic. It's in the system. It's how, I guess it's cultural to some extent, but it's also in the system.
Well, in our case, since the time we started the manufacturing company, we have totally avoided any form of giving out anything, any bribes to the government.
Even if it means a loss of sales,
yes,
opportunities.
We have done it. It's possible, and I think it can be done.
we were talking about the shoes, and I asked the proprietors, why don't you make shoes for the military? Because at this point, it seems funny that I only found out recently that we're actually importing stuff from China. The uniforms, or even to some extent the shoes used by our servicemen, are imported from our potential, can I use the term, enemy? So I guess the challenge is building production capacity right here.
Well, it's not only the capacity that's an issue. I don't know, George, I'm sure, would have another view on this. But I think it's also insofar as the labor content. What I mean is, the question there is, how productive is our labor compared to China and Vietnam? Because these are the very productive and very cheap labor right now in this region.
I heard from the Employers Confederation that our labor is not as cheap as it was before.
That's true.
Okay.
In fact, we're very expensive. Mataas na ang labor cost natin, mababa naman ang productivity natin.
In China, it's still a communist government. If the government dictates your salary, I mean,
yeah, if I can add to what Gene has said, no, the problem with our labor regulations is that every year, or almost every year, we have a mandated wage increase, regardless of whether the company is profitable, regardless of whether the workers are doing their jobs right, regardless of whether these people are more productive or not. So effectively, every year, the screws are tightened on companies that, to begin with, firing people who are not doing their jobs right is not the easiest thing to do, no? So what happens there is that they have the security of tenure, and at the same time, they are almost guaranteed salary